Hello, in this video we're going to discuss what happened during Jesus' last days part 2. So firstly, there was no 40 days in the desert with Satan. That just never happened. Because Satan was with Herod the whole time. Satan possessed Herod, and Herod did exactly what Satan told him to do most of the time. He never left him. And during the crucifixion, Herod was actually on the bottom of the hill. He was kicked off there by the man who was doing the crucifixion. When Jesus was being punished by the Roman soldiers, there's more that happened that people don't know about. He was in fact gang raped as well, which is not in the Bible. I'm just pointing it out. With regard the martyrdom, Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus was not there when these events occurred. So we swapped him for a mere chassis for a specific reason. The second things turned bad, which was in the garden. Jesus was in fact in heaven. Alright, so on the day of the crucifixion, there was only one crucifixion. There was never a crown of thorns or a sign saying INRI or anything like that. There was nothing like that. In fact, most of the town were archangels in order to make this part of history happen, with the exception of the Roman unit that was involved in raping Jesus, who were not from heaven. So the crowd that decided that Jesus should get crucified, they're all in fact archangels. Right. The process of crucifixion is technical. There's a technical way of going about it. The first crucifixion was conducted by a person in Rome, and he used to cover everything with a tent, so you could not see what he was doing. And then he'd pull the tent off, and then hello, there's a person getting crucified. So the actual process of the crucifixion, Jesus never carried his cross to the top of the hill. He was absolutely exhausted. He had been tortured and raped and whipped. He was exhausted. So the person who conducted the crucifixion had a horse and a cart, a ladder, a hammer, nails, a saw, and an axe, and cloth, and rope, and a ladder. And Jesus was collected and placed inside the cart and carried to the top of the hill. At the top of the hill, the post for the crucifixion and the spar were already there. There was a hole in the ground, and the post was placed into the ground and secured. The spar was on the ground in front of the post, and so Jesus was placed on the spar, and the one man who did the crucifixion was a Roman soldier. He in fact had to lie on Jesus' chest, on his side, and then hold the arm out and drive the nails in on his own, on the first nail. There was resistance and kicking and screaming, as well as that Mary, Our Lady Mary, who's Jesus' mother, and Mary Magdalene were throwing rocks at the guy doing the crucifixion. So although he had Roman armor on and a helmet, it was still difficult to do. But it had to be done. In heaven, it was an archangel that was chosen to do it, and he had to be specially trained and rehearsed and choreographed in order to carry it out. The second arm being nailed to the cross. All the guy had to do was pull the arm out. There was resistance, and there was some cussing, but eventually he got the arm there and nailed it on. So it was a nail through the palm on both. A rope was tied around Jesus' waist and under the armpits, and this rope was thrown over the top of the post and secured. So the ladder, the guy doing the crucifixion had to go over the top of the post, up the side of the post on a ladder, and run the rope over the top of the post and cut a groove into the top so that the rope would go through it and not slide off. The horse was tethered with a peg on the other side of the post and had already had the cart decoupled. So the horse was waiting and the rope was secured to the horse. So the rope took Jesus' weight, and also the rope went around the spar. So the spar was secured with the knot. Otherwise, as the spar was being lifted, Jesus would fall off. So the horse was unpegged and moved forward, which pulled Jesus and the spar up the side of the post. And it had to go to an exact point, an exact mark, and there was exact measurements. When the horse reached that location, it was then tethered again with a peg. From there, Jesus had to be secured and the spar to the post. In order to do this, the guy carrying out the crucifixion had to climb the ladder and push Jesus' lower back away from the post in order to get the rope around and secure a square lashing of the spar to the post. As well as this, the feet had to be secured with cloth. Jesus was in fact naked up there. There was no cloth around Jesus' waist. That's another thing. So he's stripped of his clothing when he was beaten and raped and whipped by the Romans at when they were punishing him. So once the spar was secured to the post, then what happened is the wedge has to be placed. In order to do this, Jesus' feet had to be pulled around to the side with the cloth and then tied so he couldn't kick the man doing the crucifixion. The wedge is in fact not in the same place that you see on crucifixes today. It is in fact directly beneath the bum. So it's placed directly beneath the bum and then hammered in with a nail or two. Then from there, the feet are pulled round to the front together with one on top of the other. It was right on top of the left, and then pulled upwards so that the feet were flush with the wedge, with the toes pointing downwards. From there, a nail was driven in through both feet into the wedge. So that's why the feet had to be secured with a cloth. And then from there, the cloth was cut away once it was secured. Then the rope around Jesus' waist and under his armpits had to be undone and pulled off. And it was also tied to the spar. Once those knots were undone and the rope was removed, then the crucifixion took place. And so the science behind the crucifixion is done like that. The weight is on top of the feet, and it is a very, very uncomfortable position. And that is how the crucifixion was carried out, by one person. There was only one crucifixion that day, not three. I am the Archangel Daniel, and I'm from heaven. Oh, also, another thing to point out. Before Jesus died, people were wailing, everyone was unhappy. No one in fact stabbed the body with a spear, and no one broke Jesus' legs either. After the earthquake, everyone retreated to the bottom of the hill, back to Jerusalem, and remained there. No one went up that hill at all. So it took 4 hours for Jesus to die, and then there was an earthquake, and then everyone ran down the hill because they were terrified. That included Our Lady Mary and Mary of Magdalene. I'm the Archangel Daniel, and I'm from heaven.